I was just patient, never try skating. Fuck niggas hating.
I want to be clear that a woman who is bitter it can be a good woman and also a toxic woman. Let me explain. When you yourself as a man, when you go through life and you do all you can to have discernment, and discernment being it's more of a spiritual power, but it's the ability to be a better judge of character. And you use discernment to dictate who you're going to make your friends. Maybe you use discernment to dictate what jobs you want to work for, because you're looking for things that maybe line up with you as far as integrity. And so you might even especially use discernment to dictate who you like to date, because discernment helping you dictate and be a better judge of character, it applies, right? But sometimes we don't get everything right. And sometimes things are inevitable. They're going to happen regardless if you have discernment, because there might be a lesson for you to learn out of it. Without wasting too much time on that, though, let's say a good woman, a wholesome, respectful woman, a God-fearing woman, a woman who is pure intentionally. Let's say you met a pure, intentional, God-fearing, good, wholesome woman, and you were given the perception that she was bitter. Let me tell you something about a good woman, and I know several of them. Okay? Let me tell you something about a good woman. If she is bitter, which is rightfully so, because to be bitter is to have some sort of resentment because you were done unjust. Maybe you were cheated on when you were loyal. Maybe you were robbed. Maybe someone put their hands on you and you were abused when all you wanted to do was love and nurture somebody and care for them. A good woman who has been misused, mistreated, can become bitter. But the difference between a good woman and maybe a woman who, is not so pure intentioned in reference to why she would be bitter, a good woman will be bitter momentarily. She was hurt. She was used. She was mistreated. She was abused. And what happens as a result is she has resentment for the situation and the individual who caused such pain and heartache. This can last for months. It can last for years. It depends on how long that woman went through that process of being misused. None of us human beings can dictate or determine how long it takes for any other individual to get past such turmoil, such pain, agony, betrayal, heartache, heartbreak. Okay, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's have a little bit of empathy on that for a second. Bear with me, because you're going to see my point really fast. Okay, so this woman, good woman, can be bitter momentarily, but you know what she's going to do that's contrary to what a toxic woman would do? A good woman being hurt and being bitter is going to be momentary, and while she's bitter, she's going to avoid dating. She is going to keep to herself. She is going to focus on healing. She is going to take her focus and put it on something else, like the kids, her career, her job, her hobbies, her personal growth, her health, her body. This woman is thinking to herself, I'm unhealed, therefore toxic, unhealthy. And if I entertain another man, I'm only going to hurt him. I am not in a position to date right now. I want to stick to myself and enjoy my peace and regain my self-confidence, my self-value. Oh, even saying this out loud makes me love a good woman even more, because she wouldn't dare put you through what she went through. So what she is going to do is she's going to keep to herself. She's going to detach. She's going to disappear. She's going to take some time off. She's going to heal. She's going to get in touch with her spiritual side. She's going to get in touch. She's going to self-reflect. She's going to determine what she could have done better, what she could do different moving forward. And you won't be able to gain access to this woman emotionally or romantically, because at that point in time, she's like, no, I can't do that. Not only because she doesn't want to be hurt, but because she doesn't want to hurt you in the process. That is justified and justifiable. That is a good woman. Why do I break all of this down to you? Men, we are so quick to call a woman bitter, which I understand. I've encountered them myself. But we don't never even take the time out to think, why is she bitter? And what does bitter actually mean? And should she be? And how much understanding can we have on the subject? Let me jump into something else real quick to bring my point closer to the close. Now, when you hear us men say that she's bitter, or when you encounter a woman who is bitter but not a good woman, what you'll notice is that she has developed a new state of mind that is more sustainable in a more pessimistic type of manner, where she views all men the same. Even if you are not the one who caused her any heartache, you're starting to see where I'm going with it. Someone who has foiled or spoiled their own mind, or allowed their mind to be foiled and spoiled, has developed a new way of thinking where they say, I don't trust any man. All men are dogs. Nobody's worth my affection. Nobody's worth my love. I'm not going to love anybody. And she has made a conscious decision to treat all men the same. Are there men who are like this? Absolutely. We see them on podcasts all the time. They're telling us that we need to lie to women. They're telling us that we need to remain detached from women. They're telling us that, they're focused on being more prettier than women. That's so weird to me. They're saying, oh man, you gotta stay in the gym. Yes, stay in the gym. Work on your health. Do what you gotta do. But don't let being more sexy than a woman be your goal. I'm a very sexy young man. If you don't agree, I don't care. I know I got swag, but it's not so that I can be more sexy than a woman. I want a woman that's more sexy than me. I digress. I know I'm going to trigger some of them. I ain't afraid, but I know it's facts. To get back to my point, okay, a bitter, toxic woman is going to be more sustainable as far as her negative impression or preconceived notion of men. Therefore, she doesn't believe that a good, wholesome, righteous, God-fearing, faithful man even exists. So because of that mentality that she's adopted, based on her pessimistic attitude, pessimism being fueled by negative outcomes, maybe repeated negative outcomes, that she no longer has faith in anybody, including people that she doesn't even know. She hasn't even met. So when she meets you, good guy, or let's say potentially a good guy, because maybe your representative is very polite and charming and respectful and everything like that, but maybe you're a dirtbag. Who knows? I don't. She doesn't care if you have a good, positive energy and representative. She views you as a man, and based off her preconceived notion of men, all men are dirtbags. So therefore, those are the type of women that men discuss when they say she's bitter. The ones who have long-term, sustainable, pessimistic, negative energy towards men. And because they have this kind of energy towards men, there are certain behaviors that they have and we experience when dealing with them. And that is how we determine if this is a bitter woman, regardless of her race. Okay? A bitter woman is somebody who has made a decision that she knows enough about a general species or a race or a culture, black men, for example. Therefore, she would like to avoid them. And if she doesn't want to avoid them, then she will entertain them still, but keep in her mind that he can't be trusted. Why would you entertain me? Why would you talk to me? Why would you still be attracted to me if you have made a conscious decision and you have a preconceived notion that men of my stature, men of my race, my culture, my background, my skin tone are not even worth your time? Let's jump right into it. This is why she's bitter, brother. Okay, if first of all, I want to be clear that if you can say that she's bitter and it's sustained and she's still willing to entertain you, but she's bitter as to why her energy is off and why she gives off that bitterness, it's because she's toxic. Because a good woman who is bitter, rightfully so, who was done wrong unjustly, can also be bitter, but she will keep to herself until she heals so that you don't have to deal with this. But what you will deal with if you entertain a toxic woman who is bitter is this way of thinking. Number one, she made it clear up front that she was looking for a provider. This is why she's bitter. She makes it clear up front that she's looking for a provider, right? She meets a dude with money. Everybody else, she avoids. She's looking for a provider. Now, so already she has a filter system. She said, you know what? If I'm going to deal with these men, I need to benefit from it. So she says, I'm looking for a provider. And what happens is she meets a guy with money, a guy who is willing to break a little bit of bread, a guy who is willing to take her on the trip. Everything is up front. You might see in her bio on the dating app, she says, I don't go out for coffee or drinks on the first date, so don't waste my time. This woman is saying on the first date, spend some money. So she feels like, based off of her preconceived notion of men, that she needs to be benefiting from her even spending time to get to know somebody. And what happens as a result of her meeting a man with money, because men have money, lots of them. Not as many, but still there are men who are willing to spend their money because they have a goal. Okay, what happens is she meets the guy with money because she made it clear she's looking for a provider. Okay, then she realized that this guy with money has options. This guy with money knows he has options. This guy with money has multiple women pursuing him. See, tables low-key get turned at this point because women are accustomed to having perceived options. Women are accustomed to being the one with all the men chasing them. Now there's a man with money and this man says, women are going to chase me if I have money, so let's focus on the bag. And all of a sudden women chase him, and now this woman, she falls right in the line. She wants a man with the bag. She finds one. She entertains him. She doesn't entertain the guy who doesn't have his money right. And what happens is she finds herself being one of his options. So this woman has made a conscious decision. She thought she was elevating her standards. She says, I only want to date a man with money. She finds one finally after 100 guys. However, I'm not a woman. I don't know. After talking to 100 guys, I'm just going to make up a random number. She ends up finding a guy with money, and this guy is willing to trick for a little bit. And what happens is later on, a few months in, she realizes that he has multiple women. That frustrates her. That brings her to a point where she's like, I don't want to be on his team. I don't like being someone's option. Isn't that ironic? She doesn't want to be devalued. She doesn't want to feel this tiny when she feels on the inside she deserves to be treated like royalty and a princess and princess treatment. But then she gets that princess treatment though, but it doesn't include loyalty. It doesn't include a faithful man. It doesn't include somebody who puts her on a pedestal. It doesn't include romance. It doesn't include somebody who is in home that she has full-fledged access to, that she doesn't have to share. She's bitter again. She's frustrated. You gonna see where I'm coming from if you don't already see. I'm gonna move on to number 2. I'm gonna wrap it around at the end. Number 2. Good guys are boring. Okay, this is her mentality. Good guys are boring. And for the sake of argument, because I hear a lot of skewed opinions on good guys. When I say good guy, I don't mean a complete beta male who doesn't have a backbone. He's a yes man. He gets pushed over. She can smack him. He doesn't talk back. He doesn't know how to voice his opinion. He's not a leader. He's being led by this woman. That is not what I mean when I say good man. But good man, somebody who has a long-term goal, somebody who is more simplistic, somebody who goes to work and he comes home so he can go to sleep to go to work again. Somebody who's not outside, somebody who doesn't tote pistols, somebody who isn't wearing $1 million worth of jewelry everywhere he goes, somebody who isn't in the club and turned up all the time. Yes, that's what I mean by a good guy. Somebody who is God-fearing, who has integrity. That's what I mean by a good guy. Back to my point. To her, good guys are boring, because they don't provide that excitement she likes. She wants some spontaneous gifts and trips. She wants him to say on a random Tuesday, let's turn up. Let's go to Spain. His bag allots him to be able to do stuff without having to worry about, I got to save this to pay my rent, my mortgage. Oh, I got my car no due. This is a bad time of the month. This man ain't thinking about none of that stuff. He's not trying to manage 2 and 3 businesses. And even if he is, he's already so far along as far as being successful that small fry money like that, his accountants told him he has $300,000 that he can spare this month. So he doesn't think about light bills, gas bills, children's birthdays, shoes, clothes, tuition, etc., etc. This man is already, he probably has his bills paid up for a year. Ooh, she's like, that's what kind of man I'm talking about right there. Of course it is. Okay. And so because good guys can't provide that kind of lifestyle, they're boring. But you know what I'm getting at. Okay. The bad boy provides the type of excitement that she wants, but she realized that to him, she is worth nothing more than sex. And it doesn't matter how fat her booty is. It doesn't matter how perky her titties are. It doesn't matter how beautiful her face is, how long her weave is, the logo on her bag, how crispy and clean her toes and nails are done. And she did all of this work to appeal to that man. And he's like, thank you. But what she doesn't understand is whether the man has money or not, none of this aesthetic stuff holds any true value. And if it does hold value to a man, it's only because it looks better when we are having sex. Because men are visual creatures. So when we're having sex with a woman who appeals to us aesthetically, it makes the sex appear to be better, because it doesn't really make it better, but we have this illusion that I'm having sex with a dime piece. I fit in that category, by the way. I'm a man. So the more attractive a woman is, that's how my brain thinks. That's why I can speak about this. I'm sure you can too. But my thing is, pure intention, man, although we are still attracted to women and the aesthetics of a woman, we would probably want to wife that kind of woman, as long as the aesthetics match the values of her character. But a man who has way more of a wealthy standing, therefore more privilege and entitlement, he is going to view her as a piece of pom pom. And that's it. This is why she's frustrated and bitter. She decided that the good intentioned man who may not be all the way where his goals are taking him was not worth her time. She lives by those laws of hypergamy, where she's searching for the top tier man right now, regardless if she qualifies or not. That's not even something that she's taking into consideration. But the man who's working towards something is boring, because you got to live. You got to spend a little bit of money. I'm looking for excitement. But if she was with the good kind of guy, then he would later on be where she wanted to be. She'd be grandfathered in. He'd know I got me a ride or die that's willing to go with me, regardless if I have it all or not at all. And then she'd be entitled, not entitled in a conceited, narcissistic kind of way, but she'd be entitled as far as how we as good men think, because we be like, we'd want to pay you back. Look at people like Snoop Dogg's wife. Been there since he was 18 years old, probably younger. Man worth $600-700 million. His woman is grandfathered in. He's not going anywhere. This woman was there the whole time. She was wifey material. Regardless if you find her attractive or not, that is not the point that I'm making here. The point that I'm making here is that when a woman is there, when you don't have it all figured out, and then she's still there along the way, that is somebody that you want to leave everything behind to. That is somebody that you want to give your all to. Oh, they don't want to hear that. They're hyper focused on right now. I want to have fun right now. Take me out right now. Take me on trips right now. Spend the money on me right now. Pay my bills right now. I want a Birkin bag right now. And then that man's character is lost in translation. He treats her like she is nothing more than a piece of meat, and she's right back bitter. Number 3. She only dates men who please her or stimulate her aesthetics or aesthetically, physically. She's looking for a 6-foot dude, 6 figures, 6-pack. So you 5'11", you 5'10", you 5'5", you don't qualify. She doesn't want to talk to you. This has nothing to do with anyone's character. This is all superficial behavior. She doesn't want to hear anything. I'm not even trying to persuade her to do anything. Go about your life. You're going to find out later what's really going on, because you are not living within your spirit or within your mind. You are just going off what your eyes see. Men do this too, but this video isn't about men. Okay? So what happens is she meets this man who is appears or appeals to her as far as his appearance. Okay? Only to find out that he is a con artist. Just because he is 6 foot with 6-pack of abs doesn't mean he has 6 figures. It's called the bait and switch. Men go in the studio, men go into the gym. They work out on their body, but may not have nothing else going on. She's probably saying right now, yep, I met somebody like that. He was fine, 6 foot with abs, but the dude was trying to move into my house. He was a hobosexual. Okay. She finds out that he was pretty much a con artist. It was an illusion. Yeah. And he treats her like a peasant. So what's going on here? What's the pattern? Okay. That was number 3. What's the pattern so far? The pattern is that she is looking for the wrong thing. She is overlooking the right thing. But at the same time, though, I can't really say right or wrong as far as she is concerned, because maybe she's not even in an emotional state where she'd either be worthy or know how to treat a good man. So, fellas, allow these women to make their mistakes and be bitter. Let them go. That's not up to you to fix them. You're not going to come into her life and prove anything to her. She has to learn this on her own. This video isn't to or for women. It's for you. But women are going to watch this video and be like, I don't like what he's saying, because it triggers them. Or she's going to say to herself, that's true. I might need to make adjustments. But as far as us men, if it ain't for you, brother, let it go. Number 4. She thought she was a player because she had a roster of men. And this I know personally. I know women who are very attractive and who have admitted to me that they had a roster. And then there's that one day along the stretch of having this roster where she thinks that because she's built a roster, that will assure her that she has access to supply whenever she needs it. Supply being whatever it is she desires, whether it's a date, food, sex, attention, admiration, validation. She is looking to fill up a roster so that she can have total 100% access to it, even if you aren't available, because there might be a time where you are not available. And then she can say, okay, number one didn't call, let me call number two. Let's say she has 5 guys. One day down the stretch, she calls all 5 men, and none of them answer her. And then she has to sit there with herself, the self that she was trying to avoid spending time with, the self that she didn't want to be alone. That's why she needed a roster anyway, even though she's so-called proud to be single and she's only looking for friends, because she's trying to keep this rotating list of men going on, because she has made up her mind that men are not worth the investment of time, commitment, because of her pessimistic attitude that's bred by her failed attempts at relationships over and over and over again, without taking any accountability and thinking to herself, what am I doing wrong? What could I do better moving forward to ensure that I don't continue attracting and involving myself with ain't shit men? She's not thinking like that. Okay, long down the stretch, she realizes that her roster isn't what she thought it was. These men are walking away. They're realizing that she is treating them like an option. Men don't like that either. She wasn't available for 2-3 weeks. She's posting on her page she's out with some other dude. Men can be really jealous and possessive, even if they did agree to be just friends. Because that's not what he wanted. You met him on a dating site. To date somebody is to show someone interest based off of a romantic point of view or a sexual point of view. But she's on a dating site thinking, I want friends. Friends, aka roster, aka options, aka bullpen of options that I can fish through and sift through, and I can get what I need met. Regardless, if you don't do it, I got a fallback. What you don't do, another man will. And then you date this woman and you realize, okay, she ain't answering my phone or my text message 3 days in a row. Okay, and then she tried to get back at you and act like there was no gap in her response. Okay, you trying to play me like boo boo the fool. And then what you do? Oh, I'll tell you what you did, because I'm a man. You made yourself available to another woman, hopefully a woman who wasn't playing those kind of games. And what happens was, when another woman who wasn't playing those kind of games gained your attention, the woman who tried to put you on her roster texts you and called you, and you're like, I'm not available. Beep, boop, beep. The number you have reached is permanently unavailable. Please hang up and never try your call again. The only thing that we need to understand as men is that this doesn't make the woman miss you. This makes her go out there and give her number out to 4 or 5 more men so that she can make sure that every slot on her roster is filled. Because she's a bitter woman. She believes that no man is even worth commitment, dedication, reciprocity, exclusivity, faithfulness, long-term relationship. No, husband material. That doesn't exist. Not in her mind, it doesn't. She realizes that her roster is just full of worthless men. And not because those men are worthless. Some of them may be, because anybody who's okay with being on the roster, he's like, I just want my portion. I don't want all of her. I just want my portion. She calls me, I'm going to make myself available, and I'm going to come tap that, and I'm going to get back to my daily grind. And the second she tries to say, you know what, you're the last man on my roster, she's not going to tell him this, but she thinks to herself, he's been around this long, I'm going to give him attention. Everybody else fell off. He's going to be like, whoa. No. I'm accustomed to being the side dude. I don't mind being your side dude. Now she's like, I don't even have anybody that's long-term material. And that's why she's bitter. Number 5. She's stuck in a cycle of playing a game that gets her nowhere. This will make anybody bitter. They say, or I've heard somewhere, that doing the same thing over and over makes, expecting different results is called the definition of insanity or something like that. I don't know. I didn't look into that. You know what I'm saying? But I can imagine how that can drive somebody crazy. You keep on talking to a bunch of deadbeat men. You keep on adding people on your roster. Men get tired of sitting on your bench. You can't talk to him. Men require submissive women. Men require just as much attention as you want. But they don't necessarily need it from every woman, unless they're one of these guys who think that they're cuter than women, unless they're one of these guys who are entitled to women, which just so happens to be the type of men she keeps attracting. Okay? This is why she's bitter. But if you try to bench, friend zone, pocketbook, bullpen, whatever you want to call it, good men hop their ass off that bench. Because you're not going to run my life down. You're not going to waste my time waiting on something that's never going to happen. So she has to keep the doors. She has to keep accepting applications so that she can keep that bullpen, that roster full. She's in that cycle. It's like, oh my God, she's stuck. She's going to stay bitter. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, when it comes to a good woman being bitter, it can happen because she was done wrong. Her husband cheated, left her, had babies on her. You know, she's frustrated. She's hurt. She's in pain. But what she does is she takes time to herself. She heals. Not only so that she doesn't hurt you, but because she doesn't want to be hurt again herself. And she knows how to be, to get herself prepared. And she knows how she can gauge, like, I wouldn't be any good to a man right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just stick to myself. But then you get involved with a woman that's bitter. She's willing to entertain you. But when you talk to her and you're trying to vibe with her and she's making up excuses, I don't trust men. I mean, y'all adult men ain't this. And every man I known in the past, he hurt me out. He hurt me. He dogged me out. And I'm just, it's, if you want me to love you and trust you, it's going to take some time. And you like, this is a bitter woman. She's playing games with me. A good woman is not going to play games. She's not going to entertain you. So this is very important that you understand. Before you go running around saying that black women, any kind of women, are bitter, toxic women are bitter. Regardless of their race, age, ethnicity, culture, country, language, anything. Toxic, unhealed, ill-intentioned, finessing, users and abusers themselves. People who put up with ish are typically full of ish. Very important to note. I hope this video helps you out and helps you gain some kind of understanding and guidance through your dating process. If it does, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jerome, and this has been another episode of The Superb Word. Until next time, 2 fingers. All right.